Hey WordPress family, today we're going to talk about a very interesting plugin that's an alternative for Yoast SEO. It's called SEOPress, and I've been using it on my blog for some time, and I think you should use it on your blog too. Today we're going to talk about all the advantages, disadvantages, everything it has on Yoast SEO, and everything that it can do above and beyond Yoast, and why you would even want to use it. So we're going to go over it. We're even going to do a little tutorial showing a walkthrough of how to use it, what the plugin does, how to set the options, all of those things we're going to cover today in this video. So let's get it started. Guys, we're back. It's Patrick again. So now I'm inside of my website, and I wanted to show you this article that I had wrote a while back, and it's basically a review, and I'm going to go more into depth here about SEOpress and why I think it's an alternative to Yoast than I do in this video. This video is more of a tutorial. It's going to cover more of the basics of understanding it. If you're somebody who doesn't get SEO or doesn't understand SEO, we kind of go over that in this a little bit. But this is more of a tutorial, so I wanted to take and walk you through it, but I wanted to let you know that this is here. So if you want to go check it out, go check it out. I would appreciate it. Give me your feedback. There are affiliate links in this post for SEOpress. That is not why I am reviewing it. I'm reviewing it because I actually use it on my websites. I think it's a really good alternative to Yoast, and by the end of this video, I have a feeling you're going to think so too. There are probably some Yoast diehards that are not going to be interested in switching. That's totally fine. That's your choice. But I wanted a low-cost alternative to SEO that didn't cost me a whole bunch of money. So I found SEOpress. I think it's a really good tool, and I think that you should take a look at it. So let's dive into some of the basics of SEOpress. So we'll go and we'll start off with a test site that I have that's right here. So in this test site, we're going to kind of go over it, and I've already started the basics of it, which is just setting it up and getting everything ready to go. You'll see that there are titles and metas just like in Yoast. It's no different than Yoast. Yoast has the same exact thing. It's absolutely no different. There are changes that you can make in here if you go to manage it. You can manage different things about this, such as your site title, your tags, like the meta description. All of this is the same thing that you would basically find in Yoast. There's not a lot of difference in it. You have posts here, pages here, and obviously there's do not follow on single post, do not follow on single post, no follow, display date in Google search results. That's pretty important for some posting. Some people want to put dates so that they can show freshness on posts and things like that. It lets you go through your archives pages, do not display author in archives, which is nice. It's got a bunch of different things and features in here. I would recommend for the average person, they leave this standard. Don't try and change this too much. Leave it exactly what it is, because the defaults are just fine by itself. You don't need to make a lot of changes to it. I'd recommend that you just keep it as it is. Taxonomies here, tags, and then we go into advanced, and we've got some no index, which means that it won't be displayed in Google search results for certain things. We've got some no follows for links that are more affiliate based. We've got no image indexing, no archive, no snippet if you don't want to show snippets. We've got no site link search box. There's a bunch of options in just the titles and the metas. And most of this, like I said, you'll find in Yoast. I don't think that there's anything particular that makes this stand out. This is not where you get to the point where you're making any money back on this plugin. So when you first buy it, Yoast is free, and a lot of people use the free version of Yoast, and that's fine. That's totally fine. SEOpress actually also has a free version of their software, but Yoast, to me, it's got some things that are wrong with it, and I'll go into a little bit more detail later. But for right now, we're just going to keep going through all the different options that you have with this plugin. So here we have XML and HTML website. So this will allow you to view your sitemap. It'll allow you to create image sitemaps, video sitemaps, very useful. And even allow you to do an HTML sitemap. An HTML sitemap is just a nice way of having an additional sitemap that you can use to find posts or anything like that. They usually refer to these as the human sitemaps because they look so normal. They don't look as bad as these sitemaps, which can sometimes, let me see, this is a demo site. Let's see if this sitemap even comes up. So this is the XML sitemap, and in it you can kind of see it's just really ugly looking. There's really nothing to it. This is just a demo site, so there's not a lot of pages, there's not a lot of posts, and there's not a lot of categories. But they've also got some unique features in here that you can kind of go into. It lets you include post types, include your media, certain things like that. You've got taxonomies, just like you would Yoast. Once again, all the same. HTML sitemaps, I'm not sure if Yoast include, but it's a pretty useful thing to have on a website. I think that this is something that a lot of websites need. They need an HTML sitemap. I don't think they realize they need it, but they probably need it. It's just useful to have to find your post and not have to go through your regular sitemap, which is here, which just doesn't look very well. So let's keep going. In here you'll also find social networks, which I think are pretty useful. So you can upload, you can add a person or organization, you can add your name or organization. So they give the example of Apple here. You can add a logo to your website. And this is all back-end stuff. This is more or less whenever someone shares your content, what you want showing up for this type of information. So it allows you to put a phone number, contact, or support. And then it also allows you to go into your social accounts and add in almost any social account you can think of known to man. It does look like they removed Google+. I'm actually impressed because they show Google+ here, but Google+ is basically gone. It's been shut down, so you can't really use that anymore. So it's interesting that they took that off. I didn't notice that. That's pretty funny. Facebook. So here we have Facebook, what they call open graph data. What this is this is the data that it will pull from your website to show someone what shows up. So when you go into Facebook and you actually type in your website name, most of the time it'll pull just a random image from that site if this hasn't been established. So this is really useful for showing, ownership ID. You can put in a bunch of different features like your Facebook app ID, and it'll allow you to just basically you share better with Facebook. It's useful in some ways. Some people don't really care about it. Same thing with the Twitter card. This is exactly the same thing. Your default Twitter image. It'll use the Facebook one if you don't have one, I believe. I think there's a way to default it. But it just allows you to have a Twitter card. It's just a nice to have feature. It's nothing special. I don't know if this is in Yoast or not. I don't remember if it's in Yoast. It could be. I'm not really 100% sure, so don't take my word on it. You can kind of go and research it for yourself. So here we have Google Analytics, which is by far one of the most useful things on your website. If your website is brand new or you're just getting used to it, Google Analytics allows you to track the clicks that are coming into your website. It allows you to basically find out who's looking at your site today. And so sometimes people will use third-party plugins such as Monster Analytics, which there's nothing, or Monster Insights, I believe. Sorry. There's nothing wrong with these features, but not having to install another plugin is pretty nice. I would say that it's better than having to deal with another plugin. The less plugins you can use, the better. So that's part of why I like this. It requires you to use less plugins, and that's very much a plus. So you can see you can put in your analytics data here where it'll actually use your tracking ID. It actually has some GDPR, which is pretty useful too. I'm not sure how pretty it is. I don't think it's very pretty at all. I think it's pretty ugly. But in terms of not having to worry about GDPR, that's nice that you actually have a consent and allow something. And see, this will even warn you. It says display and automatically accept user consent on page load, not fully GDPR. So that's kind of nice that it allows you to do some GDPR stuff because people are worried about GDPR. And if you don't know what that is, there's probably a video out there that you need to Google. But essentially, it revolves around people's consent of tracking when you're on a website and what you're allowed to track and what you're not allowed to track. Just like I said at the beginning of this post, that the beginning of this video, that we had affiliate links. You have to kind of disclose that information because the way that some of these marketers are getting, they're getting very dirty and they're hiding this. And so they've added this into legislation that is over in the UK. And so tracking people is just not allowed anymore like you used to. You used to never have to get consent. Now you have to get consent. It's the law. It's the way it works. You have to give them their data if they want their data. There's a whole bunch of things that I could go into just going over GDPR. If you're interested in it, in the comments below, make a mention to it. And if I get time, I'll do a video on GDPR, just the very basics of it. So in here, you can see they allow you to do a message to the user for tracking. They also have the accept button, and you can exclude certain roles from tracking, which is very useful. What I really like is that they've got some Google Optimize ID in here, so you can do some A or B testing. If you've never heard of Google Optimize, once again, that's another video that you could probably look up, but they've got that. They also allow you to enable ads, which is really neat. So you can put some ads in here from Google Ads, which is really cool. I actually didn't see this on my first go around. This might be something new. I didn't know they had this. This might be something that they just came out with, or I've just never seen it. But that's really cool too, because this is yet another plugin that most people would have to install in order to have this on here. Because this has your tracking code from Google Tag Manager. This might have been here the whole time, and I just might have missed it. That's a really unique feature that I'm not sure, once again, is in Google Yoast. I would venture to say it's not. I don't think it's in Google Yoast. I've never seen it, but I could be wrong. I didn't see it until right now. So in here, you've got some enable remarketing, demographics, interest reporting, enable IP anonymization, which basically means that you anonymize the IP address so that you don't know what someone's IP address is. Once again, that's part of GDPR, and you're just trying to be nice and not go into people's personal data. You've also got some enabled cross-domain tracking, which is nice, and then it gives you a cross-domain if you had something like a second domain that you're looking at and you're trying to make sure that everything's tracking correctly. Then you've got some events in here if you want to track events. I don't play with this much, but obviously if you're selling something that's a PDF document, whatever zip, you could track certain events such as clicks or downloads or anything like that. That's very unique. And then in here, you can track authors, categories, tags, post types, logged in users. It gives you some, like they said, custom dimensions if you just want to track those people. Maybe I want to take and look at my website and I want to see what someone is doing on my website who is a certain author, and you can add that dimension in, which is neat. And then it also gives you the ability to do stats on your dashboard. So you've got your Google Console ID where you can kind of put that in, and you can also connect with Google Analytics, which is another unique thing that's on the front of this site. Pretty sure that Yoast does not have this. I don't think they have stats on the dashboard. As a matter of fact, most people would end up using a separate plugin just to get stats on the dashboard, and this has stats on the dashboard, so that's really neat. So here we're into advanced. There's some advanced stuff that's in here, and we look at things like redirecting attachment pages to post or homepage if none. This basically is just talking about any kind of image or anything that you add that somebody clicks on. In most cases in WordPress, if you click on it, it'll go to a separate page. Some people hate that. This kind of stops that, which is unique. You've got some redirections, some removing some things from the source code, automatically set the image title, also very useful for those people who are looking to save time. Not having to set the image title is a big deal. You don't realize it yet, but once you start uploading images, you'll realize it. Certain people are going to want to do this depending on if you're doing a blog or you're doing something like that. You're probably going to want to set the image title automatically. It also has set the alt text automatically, another useful thing that you would probably want to do. You can automatically set a caption, you can automatically set a description. So they literally allow you to set all of that for your image just by uploading an image, which is, it's nice to have. It's not, I'm not sure it's good for SEO, that's for sure. Having an alt tag, I think alt and title matter more than caption and description, but that's just my limited knowledge. I could be wrong, but I know for sure the alt text makes a difference. Google likes having alt text on an image. You also have some add tiny MCE editor to term description. What this is this is actually the editor that WordPress used to use a long time ago. It just gives you some basic formatting issues if you want to formatting options if you want to go in and format some of the term text or anything like that. It just gives you more options. It's a nice to have. You can remove category from the URL of your permalinks. This is useful. Some people's blogs like to use, they like to take out the category link. So rather than having a post and you have that post title or that post name, it'll be your website and then the post title or the post name. You don't have that category page in the middle. Some people like the category page because it's good for SEO, because it'll tell Google, hey, this is the category that's from. Some people don't like it. You just have to use your discretion. But I think that there's some articles out there that talk about this. But once again, I think it's just more of a discretion thing. Disabling trailing slashes for metas. This is useful. Another SEO thing that they recommend that you do. Remove WordPress generator meta tag. This is something it's not useful. It's going to serve you no good in SEO, but some people like to hide that they have a WordPress site. They don't want hackers knowing, they don't want their competition knowing, they don't want anyone else knowing that it's a WordPress site other than them. Now, unfortunately, there's many different ways of showing that you have a WordPress site. So trying to hide this is pretty hard. There's some plugins that do it pretty well, but this just allows you to kind of take that off, which is nice. It also allows you to remove the WordPress short link meta tag, which is nice too. That's pretty cool. Remove WordPress Windows Live Writer meta tag, which is another type of meta tag that they have, and remove RSD meta tag, which once again, don't know what RSD is. Sorry, I don't know everything about SEO. I wish I did. I just don't. Google Site Verification. This is very useful. For website owners, you need to look at this. Pretty sure Yoast has this too, so I'm not gonna fight back and forth. between who has what or what. But this is useful because when you're getting your site verified by Bing or Google or Pinterest or Yandex, which is the Chinese version of Google, I believe, or Japanese. I can't remember. I'm not very familiar with Yandex, but I know that um, they have a verification service, and it's very useful if you want to get any kind of content into the Asian culture that's over there. So we have that. We go to appearance, and there's a bunch more stuff that you can kind of adjust in here. Most of it is kind of, it's more or less SEO stuff. It's more or less SEOPress stuff. So it's removing like SEOPress from the admin bar, which is up here. You can kind of remove it if you were doing something where you didn't want people messing with your SEO. You can also move the meta box, which can be found on pages. If you actually go to pages and post, if we go to add new, I'll open up a new page, and you'll see that the meta box is going to appear, I'm pretty sure, as high as it can, because right now it's set to high top priority, but it has to, see, here it is. So it's showing you in meta box. This will always load first because this is the default WordPress stuff, but this will allow it to load before it loads anything else. So if you had a bunch of other plugins, certain times those plugins compete, and this just pushes that to the top because it assumes you're going to be doing some SEO with this, and so it pushes that right to the top, so it gives you the ability to go in and look at what you're doing. So let's see. You can also hide notifications. You can hide SEO tools. You can hide the useful links. This is basically a bunch of just information that's, once again, it's nice to have. It's just removing clutter. Show the title tag in the column post. This allows you to show the title tag, which I believe is right here. So you could remove this if you're not. If you want to leave your title tags generic, then you would remove that. I don't know why you'd want to do that, because sometimes you want to customize. The title tags that they come up with through their algorithm are good because it's just like Yoast. But sometimes you want to customize a title tag. Sometimes it's just too long, and it's better for you to customize it. Show meta description. This is another thing. Sometimes you want to show the meta description, sometimes you don't. Some people allow this to default. I wouldn't recommend you allow it to default. I'd recommend you type in something in your meta description if you can. It just ranks better on Google, and it makes everything look better on Google. There's also videos out there on that too. So we have redirection enable in post column. Redirections are just a way of redirecting certain older posts to maybe newer posts, or redirecting just anything to anything else that you want to redirect. Maybe something isn't going right and you want to redirect it a different way. That's how you would do it. You can also show chronological, which is just the ways that your pages are set up. It's good for SEO and Google in general. Show target keywords column, show non-index column in post, show non-follow, show the number of words in the column post. They have a validator here. That's very useful. That's very nice. Show Google page speed column in post types. It'll check performance. That's very nice. You can hide Genesis SEO meta box. So it's got some other, Genesis is a theme that's very popular. It's got some things that obviously if you don't want to have conflicting SEO, it'll remove that. And then it's also got some security here. In security, it'll actually block certain roles depending on what someone is doing. So you could block it. You could block editors, authors, contributors, subscribers. You can block SEO blocks. So it allows you to basically just customize your SEO experience if you have third parties logging into your website that maybe, once again, you don't want them touching your SEO. So then we go into tools. Here we've got some export and import functions, which is also useful. We've got some plugin functions so you can migrate some data. See, import post terms from Yoast, import post terms from All-in-One SEO, import post terms from the SEO framework, import post terms from metadata from Rank Math. Now, this is all unique, and I'll tell you why it's unique. Last time I looked at Yoast, and once again, could be wrong, I'm not trying to be the final authority on Yoast, and I'm not trying to downplay what Yoast does. I'm trying to point out the differences between these two programs. Yoast doesn't have a lot of things that it imports from. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it imports Rank Math. Rank Math is a pretty new SEO program. It's probably been out a little while, but it's very popular. A lot of people like it. It's just probably as popular as this, if not more popular. And a lot of people really like it, so the fact that you can import this data is really cool. SEO Framework is another one that's really popular. I'm pretty sure All-in-One and Yoast don't have import functions for those. Could be wrong, once again, but as a plugin developer, you don't want to have a bunch of stuff like that because that's telling other people about your competition. And I think it's really cool that they did that because obviously it shows a level of clarity with this plugin that they understand. You could have all these different people coming from all these different plugins, and they're just going out of their way to make it a little bit easier for you. It's really just a nice to have thing because I'm probably going to try Rank Math at one point in time, but it's just nice to have. That's all it is. It's really nice. Here you've got some redirections. That's also very useful. A lot of these plugins do redirects, and so if you're trying to import your redirects, you need to have that done. Yoast Premium redirects, which is something that we'll talk about later on. And then you can obviously export your redirects. And then there's also resets for all the warnings and everything like that. So here we have a broken link. It'll actually run broken links on your website. If you want to find out if you have broken links, this is super useful. Some people use alternative methods. There's all kinds of free things that are out there. They'll search your website for broken links. This has it built in. Once again, just something extra that they throw in that they really don't need to throw it in, but they do it anyway. I'm 90% sure Yoast does not have this. It's not a big deal, but it's a nice to have, once again. And then if we go Pro, I believe it'll take you to the Pro page, which will have additional options. These are, so by the way, almost everything that we talked about already is free. You could use the free program. And here, this is where all the Pro comes. This is also where the cost comes in. Certain businesses need to be careful of this because there's a lot that's in here. I'm going to try and go over it without making this video too long. Some of this, I'm not going to lie, I have no idea what it's for. I could research it, just don't know what it's for. You can feel free in the comments to tell me what it's for, but some of it I just have no idea. Local business is very useful because this is for anybody who's trying to get on local business. If anybody's being found in Google Maps or anything along those lines, this is what you want to have. And once again, they've added this into Pro. They've got Dublin Core. Don't know what Dublin Core is. I'd have to research it, but I know that it's enabled by default. Pretty sure it's a good thing to have. I can't see how it could hurt you. Structured data types. This is super useful. Structured data types is just it's just a way of you having a meta box, which we'll talk about later. We actually get into structured data types in here. Let me move this down real quick. Sorry about that. So we'll get into this a little bit later, talking about the actual structured data types and what this does, but it's useful to have. It allows you to do schema, and schema is very, very good for SEO. It's good for Google. Google really, really likes schema. If you've never heard of schema, look it up, do some research. Google likes schema. So the more you can put on your site, the better off you're going to be. It just makes your site much, much more robot friendly to Google. breadcrumbs. They actually have a feature to allow you to install breadcrumbs. I know Yoast does have this. They do have a breadcrumb feature. Um, this is no different. They allow you to take and do breadcrumbs on your page if you're trying to do them. Once again, useful SEO tool, useful to have. I would recommend that you install breadcrumbs if you can do it. If you can't get it installed, find a way. This makes it pretty easy. I mean, it walks you through how to install breadcrumbs, but you don't have to if you don't want to. WooCommerce. I don't have WooCommerce installed on this demo site, but WooCommerce is a function that we're going to talk about a little bit later when we get into pricing. Anybody who owns any kind of shop or anything like that, WooCommerce is important. There's no way of getting around it. Easy digital downloads. Once again, it allows you to do some e-commerce on your site. I think that this allows you to do some tracking of that and some customizing. Just customizing pages for your products, just like WooCommerce, no different. There's a page speed, which allows you to do an analytics of your page speed. And obviously it's in beta, it says. Robots text. So robots text is your text that tells robots like Google, Bing, or anything else exactly how you want your page searched. There's some important things that you can add in this. This will allow you to see your robots text, which is pretty cool, and allow you to edit those things if you're trying to add a Google image bot, add an AdSense bot, links to your sitemap, all of that. It allows you to do that, which is really cool. Google News, something that's also very useful. If you're a news site and you're trying to get found by Google News, this allows you to take and customize your sitemap to where it's more Google News friendly, which is, once again, and it's just really useful. 404 pages. This allows you to, if someone accesses your site and they get a 404 page, which is basically just a bad page, this allows you to kind of customize that experience, and it allows you to even see those 404 pages that you're running into. It creates a log, which is really cool. HT access. This is useful if you're editing certain things, you're trying to eliminate bots, or you're trying to get rid of anything along those lines. That's what this is useful for. HT access, it has its own features and everything, and its own way of coding. In most cases, you don't want to mess with it, especially if you're unfamiliar with it or you don't know how to edit it. Don't edit it. Allow your web host or your web designer to edit it. Don't touch this. It can break your site, and it's not good. RSS is just your RSS feed. If you're not familiar with what that is, every time you post content to the site, you create an RSS feed, and that feed is allowed to be picked up by certain sources. Certain programs use it, certain things use it to let you know, like if you had MailChimp installed. MailChimp can take your RSS feed and it can send a mail blast out every time you take and put a new post out. Those type of things, certain people like them, certain people don't. Just depends on how much you're publishing on your website. Backlinks allows you to enter in a Majestic API key and view your backlinks. I don't like this. This is the first point of criticism for me. Majestic API key is fine, but it costs money for this feature. And there's too many programs out there that do backlinks for free. So I'm not real happy that this is included. This might be some kind of partnership. Don't know. Have no idea. I'm just talking out of that, but I don't like this. There's too many things out there that already do this for free, and I don't need to pay for this, so I would recommend that you skip this unless you have Majestic API key, and go ahead and do it and pay for it. This does some URL rewriting if you're trying to do that. Once again, not real clear on what you need URL rewriting for, but I'm sure you could look it up and you could find out, and you have it in here. And then obviously white label. Don't know why everybody is stuck on white label. I don't get it. But I guess for certain people who are trying to create the ultimate experience for any kind of website, you may want white label. They include it in here, which is nice. I don't mind saying that I'm using SEO Pro. Don't know why people try and hide it. I think it's a personal preference. I think some web designers try and look much bigger than what they are, but the fact is I use SEO Pro. I don't care if you know that I use SEO Pro. It doesn't make a difference to me. I just like it. So to me, I would much rather not hide this because I think it's a developer. I'm supporting the developer by doing this. So we're getting to the bottom here. I'm sorry that this is going so long. I apologize. Here is schema. This is where you can kind of add schema. I won't go into it. They kind of detail it on the SEOPress website, so I'd recommend that you go check it out on some of their forums. But schema, once again, I said it's very useful, and I stand by that fact. It's very useful. You've got your redirections here if you were looking to see what kind of 401s you were getting. You've got your broken links here. And if you pay for Majestic API, which I don't think most people will, then you can see all your backlinks here, which is useful. That's very cool that they allow this in the back end. So, okay, now we've gone over this. I've wasted your time enough. I've talked about this until I'm blue in the face. You've seen everything in here. I'd recommend that you leave most of this as your default. In my article, I go over what you should do and what you shouldn't do, kind of go into a little bit more detail than I did at the video just because I didn't want to make this super long, and it's ended up being long anyway. But SEOPress is a great alternative. If you're not convinced yet, you're about to be convinced. Get ready. So beyond everything else that we've talked about, if you're a new website, you're a new business owner, okay, I get it. SEOPress is here. Why do I want to buy it? Here's why you want to buy it. Their pricing structure. Their pricing structure is fantastic. For $39, you get unlimited sites and 1 year of support and updates. 39 bucks. With everything I just showed you, everything. Did you see what I just showed you? Everything. It handles almost every SEO aspect I can think of. I can't think of anything it doesn't. If you know something it doesn't, comment down below in the forums and let me know. I'd love to add that to my article or video just so that we could make sure that we're catching everything. But I just don't know what it doesn't cover. It literally covers everything. 39 bucks. Are you ready for this? Here is Yoast SEO, which is popular. Can't deny it. Yoast does a fantastic job for what it's worth. I think a lot of people use the free version of Yoast, and look, the free version of Yoast is fantastic. It's probably better than SEOPress's free version. I'm not going to deny that. But SEOPress's paid version is better than Yoast's paid version, and this is why you're going to see it. So Yoast charge $89 for one website 1 year. So you're already double the price, almost triple the price that you just paid for SEOPress. But then when we scroll down to the bottom, that's where we get into the heart-wrenching stuff. And I mentioned this in my article, and it's just, there's no way around it. So local SEO, okay? So wait, that's $69 for that? Yep. You're going to pay $69 for local SEO. But wait, that's included for free on here. Yep. You're going to pay $69 for local SEO. Does it do something that SEOPress does? Probably. Maybe there's some additional functionality in there, but I doubt it. SEOPress does a pretty good job, and they don't charge you an arm and a leg for it. So it's exactly the same stuff. So, all right, so wait. So that's all they're going to add. Okay, $69. Yep. So you're already at like $150 for if you're doing local. But wait, now they have video SEO. Wait a second. Wasn't video SEO included in here? Didn't we go over that? We probably need a rewind, but you should rewind. Video SEO is included. Once again, I don't know if it's as prominent as this, so I have no idea what they add to this. I'm sure that there's more that's included, but if we look here, it says it automatically has an XML site generator for video. Well, wait. When I check and I go to SEO and I go here, and I go to post types or general, oh yeah, I could already do that for 39 bucks. Huh. And you're charging me 69 in 1 year of updates. So now I'm at about $220 if I get the local and the video SEO. Okay. Then you have the news. Wait a second. We already went over this. News is already included in here. There was actually specifically in the paid version a news sitemap that you could already do, which if we go back, Google News, there's Google News right there. But wait, they're charging another $69. So now we're up to almost $300. This is insane. If you haven't figured it out yet, it keeps getting worse. I mean, they're charging an arm and a leg for almost the same exact stuff. Then you go to WooCommerce, and it's another $49. So by the time you get done, I've added this up on my blog, it's like $350 for the same thing. And you know what the difference between all this is? Read the fine print here. One site, 1 year of free updates. So pretend I'm a web designer or I'm a business owner and I have multiple sites. Well, now you need to pay $350 every year for all the same stuff you get for $39 a year, and it's unlimited. I mean, the math here, it just makes sense to go with SEOPress. It's just much cheaper. And I'm sure that some people will come out and say, well, yeah, but it's probably not as good as Yoast. Well, that's great. But you know what? It's a great alternative. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. It's a great alternative. They've got some great things here. I would recommend you check it out. Download the free edition. Play with it. You may not need some of this. If you don't need some of this, stick with this. This is totally fine. It's got everything that you need from a standpoint. It just doesn't have these little things here. But I think that it's a great plugin. I can't say enough about it. The developer supports it. He does what he needs to do. It's a good plugin. I really like it. I would recommend that you take a look at it. So hopefully if you've been watching this video and you've seen it, we've gone into detail over it and why I think you should use SEOPress. If you'd like to, subscribe to this channel. We do WordPress tutorials. We talk about reviews just like this one. We go over all kinds of different products. I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I've helped somebody out there save some money where you're not paying $350 for an SEO program that does the exact same thing as what you already have. One word of caution I will say before you switch SEO programs: make very sure that you go over your settings and you're looking at everything. If you move SEO programs, you can screw things up. In most cases, if you start with one, then stick with that one and go with it if you're not sure about what you're doing. Because if you screw up your website's SEO, you can cause all kinds of problems with Google. So that's just a word of warning before we end. But hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then like and subscribe below. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm going to have some more content